off camera. I'm sitting right in my logo. And so we're doing it a little different today. We got Janet, my beautiful wife here, which you can't tell that she's pretty or not because she's off camera. But she's going to read me your questions, and then I will answer those questions. We'll have like a little conversation. We'll just try this just for fun. So let's roll. Go ahead, Janet.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. Irene says, I recently noticed my 8-month Anatolian Shepherd sometimes gets nippy with us, either when he is super excited during playtime or if we are touching him in a way he doesn't like while clipping his nails or doing some other type of necessary maintenance or grooming. I'm not sure how to stop this behavior and want to ask the correct way to go about this.
So I think since he's a young pup, 8 months old, Anatolian Shepherd is a very dominant breed. So in his DNA and his genes, a very dominant dog. He's probably just sowing his oats. He's trying to figure out what's going on. You probably haven't done it a lot. You're going to want to approach it a little bit slowly. You're going to want to maybe just do one nail, give him a bunch of treats. Right? Treats. Cookies. You might want to, anything, any kind of touch handling, you want to get him okay with it. You doing it first before anybody else does it. You want to make sure that the dog understands that everything's fair. But pressuring him to like almost flooding him, like continuing over and over and over to do it, is something I wouldn't do at this age, right? I would definitely be on him. I would maybe do a nail a day, right?
Would you use a clipper? Would you use a Dremel?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I like the Dremel. Clippers, clippers with dark nails, it's hard because it gets too close to the quick and he might bleed or something. The Dremel will cauterize it, but go super slow.
Sounds good. Okay, Diana B. Diana says, my 2-year-old female mountain cur, Luna, is well-trained on and off leash. Along with Luna, we have a 1.5-year-old Shar-Pei healer. I guess she means a Shar-Pei healer combo mix.
Yeah, mix.
Mochi, and a 6-month-old Brittany mix, Callie. On an average day, they all enjoy each other's company, no aggressive behavior until Callie got her front legs stuck as she was racing up my deck stairs, and Luna got to Callie before me, but instead of helping, she exhibited aggressive behavior as if to attack.
Right, so what happens a lot of times, we've seen this even with Dwayne and Jimmy, is when one dog is in peril, right, they're sensing it as weakness, they're sensing it as a challenge, and they're going to go in and they don't know any better, right? So you really want to make sure that the dog understands that if your dog is in this, and we don't know what the drive is the dog is going into. It was a dog who got their foot stuck going into a very defensive drive, like get away from me, I'm going to hurt you. And the other dog sees that as a threat and goes in, or is your other dog, Callie, or whatever her name is, seeing it as a weakness and attacking that weakness? You want to know what that is, but more important than knowing that, you want to make sure that your dog, the one that was being the aggressor, knows that is absolutely unacceptable. And I would do a very, very firm correction on that, and to know that that will never, ever be tolerated.
Okay. Gabrielle says, hi, Robert. I am teaching my 1.5-year-old lab to fetch. If I ask her to hold the dowel, make her carry it, and then ask her to bring it to me, she makes no mistakes. However, if I throw the dowel, very often she picks it up by the bell, even if I adjust it as you show in your video. By the time she's close to me, she loses it. I try to catch it before it's on the ground and put it back in her mouth the right way, and then finish the exercise by asking her to hold it calmly and then out. Any advice?
Well, first of all, I don't know how long you've been doing the hold conditioning, but hold conditioning is a process that takes a long time. You don't want to mix the retrieve with the hold conditioning, because what happens, and that's with any dog. I know with a gun dog in particular, we talked about it with Jeremy, and Jeremy kind of told you the same thing, because Janet went through the same thing with Dwayne and Mater. We took the retrieve completely out of the picture for 4 solid weeks. There was not one retrieve. Because what happens is you're mixing obedience with drive, and that's going to be the natural enemy of the dog. Until the dog is clear on that picture. Now, you can take you're saying dowel and then you're saying bell, right?
I was going to say, she said both.
So maybe what you're doing is that she's doing it perfectly with the dowel, and then you bring the dumbbell in, and that's totally normal, right? So you're getting the dog really calmly holding the dowel, good boy, good girl, whatever it is, and you're conditioning and conditioning, and then you go, yeah, good girl, go get the dumbbell. And then all that goes out the window, and now you've got a dog that's functioning in drive, and the drive is getting excited, and it's just, I got to get it as fast as I can. I'm going to bounce it around. I'm going to fling it around. You got to completely stop retrieve. There's no retrieves. There's no retrieves on even a toy, a ball, or anything like that. Just take that out. There's no retrieves for 4 weeks, and that will solve the problem. I guarantee it. But if you have any retrieves in there and that drive is in there, it's going to keep going.
Yeah, it makes me think of Dwayne.
Yeah.
Dwayne did that.
Yeah,
too.
for
He
sure.
flipped it around a bit.
Yeah, it's just an excitable dog. It's a really nice quality to have in a dog, but it's definitely gonna be a problem for you. What? Oh, you just gotta get rid of the keyboard.
Okay, thanks.
Janet's on my iPad.
Okay, Terry J. Terry says, "Hey Robert, Django the doggo here. My owners brought home a mean, evil little hot dog looking rat. I am a nice, well-mannered, intact 14-month Malinois. Oh boy, here we go.
Oh boy.
I tolerate the mini dachshund well and play and get along well. My dad sent you a video on Facebook. If I get annoyed, I simply move to high ground like the window or top of the couch. Is a kennel timeout better or strong leash correction when the corn dog with legs keeps barking and attacking me? What point should parents step in?"
So first of all, everybody knows I love mini dachshunds because the Bosnian, the legend of the Bosnian continues forever. And the Malinois, naturally exhibits normal prey drive. So there is an inherent possibility of the Malinois being aggressive because the other dog is going to be high in prey drive. It's going to really excite this dog. The Malinois is not going to do. How old is did she say 14 months old is the Malinois, right? So the dog is still not in control of its own drives. And you want to kind of have the ability to cap the Malinois' drives before those drives get super excitable. So in other words, we want to bring something in like a ball or a tug toy or anything else and bring the dog's drives up and then cap the drive so that I know I can control those drives. Like when Goofy and Boz met, Boz could be running around out to Goofy Plutz and he would lay there. And even though he was like super high drive, super wanting to get at him, he knew he had to hold that down. So that's a really important piece. Now, but you've got a young 14-month-old Malinois, which Django's a super cool name. I love that name. And then you've got a dachshund, which you and I both love dachshunds. What's not really fair is you're letting the dachshund have a lot of freedom, and that's the new dog, and then you're going to put the Malinois in a cage. That's just the opposite of what you want to do. What you want to do is put the dachshund in a cage and let the Malinois have some freedom, and then teach the Malinois a good solid place command, a solid down command, and a solid yuck fooey command. So what I would do is I'd have the dog in the Malinois out, the dachshund would be in a kennel, and he will learn to calm down. It's going to take you a few weeks, right? For a few weeks, the dachshund's going to have to live in this kennel, and he's going to have to understand dachshunds are a very dominant breed. So it's hard for that dachshund to understand that, because you remember Boz tried to mount Goofy, he just couldn't reach.
And tried to attack you.
Tried to attack me when I gave him a bone. But this is going to be a game through attrition, right? He's going to have to see that this is just the way it is. It's going to go over and over and over again. And be very fair to your Malinois, because if you're not fair to him, he's going to settle this, and it's not going to be pretty, right? So you don't want to put the Malinois in that position, because if he's doing the right thing, he's trying to get away, then you should step in and tell that dachshund, grab him by the scruff of his neck and go, hey, don't do that. Be real firm with him like his mom would be. Don't bully him. Don't yell at him. Don't do anything personal, but definitely grab him. Hey, knock it off. And then the dachshund goes in the crate, not the Malinois, right? So that's an important piece.
I like that.
Good.
Okay. Gunnar.
I think it's Gunnar.
Gunnar?
I think so. I'm not sure. He's written before.
Well,
You say
okay.
Gunnar. That's fine.
Okay.
You say it better anyway.
Gunnar.
Okay.
Hi, Robert. I'm a first-time Malinois owner, and your videos have been a godsend. I have a 5-month-old Malinois puppy. Oh, how fun. Who suddenly started barking and lunging at family members when they enter the room. My family has been around her since I brought her home at 8 weeks, and she has never had any issues with them until this started 3 days ago. I now have her on a leash inside, and I'm correcting her with a martingale when she starts the behavior. I'd appreciate any advice you have.
Right. So this is when the dog at 8 months old, you said, right? Oh, 5 months old. So the dog is kind of coming into himself. There's no water in there. Sorry. They're empty. They're just props. Sorry. There's nothing. This is the way I do this. This is the way I roll. There's no drinking. So the 5-month-old, the Malinois, is just getting a touch of prey drive. He's seeing this, he's getting excited, he wants to play, and by playing, he's running at these people, he's barking, he's trying to instigate this. So more than likely, what you're doing here, Gunnar, is you're going to make it a little bit worse by holding the dog on a collar, because the dog's going to be pushing against the collar and he's going to be getting some kind of an excitement. Like the people are going to say something, you're going to say something. So you're kind of feeding into that frenzy. With a 5-month-old puppy, I would teach him a down. When he gets up, I'd bring him back to his down. Nope, come on over here. Don't layer too many corrections on a young dog, right? It's too much. I would always be luring him back with treats. I would be doing everything positive here, because if he's a well-bred dog and has good lines, has had good socialization, then he just needs to understand that when people come in, he doesn't do that, right? Don't have him on a line and yanking him, stuff like that. You can pull him by his line, put him in his bed, go lie down, put a couple treats in his bed. He gets up, no, get over here, come on, and make it again another game through attrition. This is puppies. You don't want to come down too hard on them, because once you make it evil for them to go after for what he's doing, because more than likely he's lunging and barking at them to play. More than likely. And a Malinois will bite in play. So he'll grab onto a sleeve or something, and if somebody screams, he's going to get into his play drives are going to excite. You've got a Malinois, so you've got to understand what you're dealing with. And you're dealing with a dog that has a high degree of prey drive. He wants to chase, he wants to engage, he wants to play. And if he gets a hold of him, he's going to grab him by the pant leg and he's going to play tug and play tug and play tug. So your job is to, one, crate him a lot. When people come over, let him learn to settle down. Let him see that this is just going to be a normal part of his life every day. You've only had him for 3 months, right? If you got him at 2 months old. So game of attrition, hunker down. You got this dog. You're going to be stuck with this dog for, God willing, 14, 15 years. Give him the structure and tell him what you want. Starts in a crate, then it goes to a place command, and he gets put back in his place over and over and over again.
Would you have the family members maybe reward him with a little cookie if he's sitting quietly?
No, I do everything. I would have everything coming from the main owner first, right? And once he's really calm with that, then I would. The reason I don't want them doing this, because then he's going to think, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get a treat. And then if I don't get it for sitting, he might sit and wait and it's not happening. Then he's going to lunge, and then it's going to defeat the purpose. So everything in the beginning, whether it's a fearful dog or an unknowing dog of behaviors, you want the dog to only look at you, and you don't want the dog being really overly friendly with everybody, because you don't know if he's going to run up to somebody and sit in front of them, intimidate them, and they might be afraid of him. So everything should always come from you.
Okay, got it. Okay, Cossette D. Baloo, my beautiful 3-year-old male German Shepherd dog, entire, was charged by another German Shepherd dog. I tried to bluff, had to let Baloo forward at the last minute. The fight was finished quickly. The other dog ran yelping to its owner. Baloo has now taken on a much more intense guarding behavior in public. I am now scared, nervous the same thing will happen again, and feel guilty I could not protect my dog. How am I best to build both of our confidence again? Should I give him a break from being in public for a while?
No. Absolutely 1,000% no. So you didn't fail your dog. The other person failed their dog, and their dog got injured, right? And this is it can happen, right? There's no perfect practice. It can happen at any given time. So you did the right thing. You tried. It didn't work out. Your dog protected himself, and you did exactly what he should have done. No hard feelings. Your dog was, I'm assuming, on a leash. And whatever happens. This is the bad part of irresponsible dog ownership. Now, the normal inclination is going to be to coddle your dog and feel bad for your dog and don't take your dog out in public and do this. And exactly the opposite you should do. Take your dog out again tomorrow. Good solid obedience, like nothing ever happened. You should repeat these words to yourself, like nothing ever happened. You dwell on it. You're going to remind your dog of it. It will never go away. You pretend like nothing ever happened. You just go right back out and do it again. I've stepped on Goofy's toes in healing. He squelched and screamed. And I was like, good boy, let's go. And like nothing ever happened. That's the trademark. When something goes wrong with your dog, like nothing ever happened.
Move forward.
Move forward.
Kayla says, my dog charges the TV. He's done this since he was a puppy. We tried to help it by rewarding when he is calm with the TV on. We also tried desensitization by having it on all the time. Both have seemed to make it worse. He will actually put holes in the wall and jump up to it barking. It is very frustrating. Can you suggest anything?
Well, the one thing you can get rid of your TV. I mean, that's, my friend used to say at Schutzen, he used to say, people ask, I've got a Rottweiler and he's on the couch. I can't get him off the couch. What should I do? And the answer was just get another couch. You should have really handled this when the pup was younger, right? As a younger pup, it's much easier to control. Now the dog is older. You're not really saying what breed he is, how old he is, or anything like that. I'm not getting a lot of information on this. But my knee-jerk reaction is, again, it's dog training is really a game of dominance and attrition, patience and perseverance. So, I would have the TV on and I would have the dog sitting next to me with a collar on, and I would, if the minute he moved, I would say, no, lie down. I'm not as big a fan of with a mature dog to lure and reward over and over again, because sometimes you end up back chaining those behaviors. So the dog sees I lunge, I come back, I calm down, I get a treat. And that's really not a good, it's not a good way for a dog to think. The dog should think, if I'm doing something wrong, a correction happens. If I'm doing something right, life happens, right? I just get to live. I just get to be a happy dog. I get to live nice. I get everything positive happens. And the more you think like that, the more you make normalcy a reward, the easier the dog can function. So maybe by doing, didn't you say she put treats on the bed or something? Went up by rewarding him when he's calm. So yeah, we tried to help by rewarding when he was calm. So it was always like a time bomb until he wasn't calm. So he got a reward,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, he blew up. So, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong. Most trainers would probably suggest you do that. I would just say, hey, lie down. Like, what do I do when the dogs bark? We're in bed. I go, hey, quiet, knock it off. Or I'll scruff them real quick. Hey, knock it off. And then that's it. It's just, you have to kind of make life normal. And a lot of dogs, like we call them shadow dogs, they have they see things differently, and especially the flicker in a TV, the colors. So dogs aren't really seeing the detail in the TV. Some dogs can, but some dogs don't. So my thing here is, you own the house, you own the TV, you pay the dog's rent, his insurance, his food, his water, his health insurance, and everything like that. You have a right to watch TV. And I would put him on a collar and I would knock it off and be real nonchalant about it.
How about just a wire crate in the TV room and crate the dog?
Yeah, I mean, for sure you could do that. But the thing is, it's still going to be, and that's a great idea. I would probably say you can start with that, depending on the size of the dog and how much, like, is he going to go completely nuts in the crate and start tearing the crate apart? Mm-hmm. And my fear always when dogs, like when you're saying this dog has holes in the walls, if the dog will settle, I would do the crate thing. My fear is when I tell somebody to put the dog in a crate and they flip out and they start biting on the crate and then they crack a canine or something like that. So yeah, if the dog is cool and can settle down, that's really, really good. But it's going to just take, it's really eventually the dog has to do it without it. So depending on how confident you are, a leash, a collar on the dog, and just enforcing it, and do it for 5 minutes. Right, 2, 3, 4 corrections, and sit. The dog is good for 5-10 minutes. Boom, the TV goes off. Okay, that was it. Right.
How about a crate with a cover on it? Maybe.
Well, I think it's the visual. I think it's still the visual.
But if there was like a little cloth cover over the crate, maybe.
Then you're taking the visual away, though, right?
So maybe it would hear the sound and start to get more used.
But if it's the sound, then it's the sound. I mean, if it's a visual, I would try to cap it. I would try to get right to the bottom of it. That's my only concern.
Okay, Juliana. Hi, Robert. Our pup is 5 months, and since day one, we've encouraged calm and gentle behavior around our 2 cats with good success initially. However, recently she started barking at them when she wants to play with them, or more recently when I pet them. When I'm petting them, she'll run over, often start licking them, and then bark or nudge me for attention. I tell her no and put her in a down or sit, but she still barks when in a down. Any better ways of handling this? Thanks.
So the dog is first of all, I would have it's a young puppy. It should be in a crate. The cat should be free. The dog should see that the cats have a free life and that they are a part of this, right? So it's just because you say it went well in the beginning, wasn't it? It went well, and then suddenly the dog is doing this. But puppies change from day to day, right? Puppies are maturing at a constant rate, day by day. So you want to make sure that every single exposure is something that you're marking in your Rolodex, what's happening. So it's not that it's suddenly happening. It's just another behavior that popped up. It's another behavior that's coming here. I would have the dog in a crate, the puppy in a crate. I would be petting my cats, right? I would be hanging out with them, petting them, whatever. I mean, I don't have cats, but if I had cats, I would. And I would be petting him and playing with him. They would see me. They would be, the puppy would see me. The puppy would see that I control everything. If I want to do that, remember when we had Dwayne, I would hold Dwayne, I would hold Bozman, and Goofy would nudge my arm. And I'd say, knock it off, lie down. Now, your puppy's too young for this. At 5 months old, the dog, you can't expect the puppy to know what you want. It's unfair to the puppy. So put the puppy in a crate, pick the cats up, pet them, do your thing, put the cats down, give the dog a little bit of a reward. But you still have to show that dog that you will not deter your life for him, right? If he doesn't like the cats, and eventually if you keep going like this, he's going to not like those cats. He's going to say, those cats get in the way of my attention. So a little tip I would give, and it's what I used to always give everybody, when you hold the other animal, the current animal, I just push them away. I don't say anything, right? Remember, I would always talk about that in workshops too, is I'm holding this dog, my other dog comes up, and I would do it with Boz. I would just push Goofy away. I wouldn't say, no, get down, no, because that's still the interaction. That dog is festering into the interaction, and that's going to bring his drives up. But if I'm holding the cat and I'm petting and stroking the cat, and I push you away, and I keep doing this, and I keep doing this, and I'm not giving you a verbal interaction or a real engagement, it's going to get boring really fast. And then I think, again, attrition. I think you'll win.
Okay, great. Love for Sibes.
I think it's Siberian Huskies.
Siberian Huskies.
I'm just taking a stab at it.
Okay. Love for
Sibes.
Right. Okay, got it.
Okay.
I'm fostering a 10-year-old husky mix that jumped on the bed without invitation. Attempted to remove the harness when he looked at me and growled. Assume he thought I was removing him from the bed. First instance of aggression. I said no, but broke eye contact, stepped back, got leash, and let him off. I placed him on the floor where he sleeps. He tried again, but I blocked him with my arm, and he laid down on the floor. Did I communicate weakness by moving, looking away? How should I have handled this?
Well, first of all, I mean, if you're fostering this dog, you haven't had this dog that long. Siberian Husky is a big dog. I don't know how big you are, how powerful you are. And that's something that I would really consider, because a dominant dog, 10-year-old dog, you have no idea where this dog came from, what the issues are with this dog. Looking away from the dog, I wouldn't think it's showing a sign of weakness more than I would worry more that you're taking your eyes off the dog that might have bit you, right? I would have tried to keep my eyes on the dog. I don't challenge dogs by looking them in the eye and doing all that stuff, because if I don't know the dog, I don't want to challenge a dog because I don't know where it's going to go. Spent 12 years in shelters. I don't need to dominate myself or assert myself over a dog. I need to win the war, not the battle, right? So I want to change the overall behavior of the dog. So in your situation, if you're only fostering one dog, then I would have that dog always dragging a little tab, right? So they can always grab the dog, hey, come here, or whatever, or even like a little line, like a 5-foot line, so they can move the dog off. Because that personal interaction, grabbing that harness, it's a very tactile interaction. It's a very challenging interaction for that dog at that moment. And the dog, again, you don't know where he came from. This could be a trigger for the dog. This is why he might have been relinquished. So to be fair to the dog, if you want to give this dog a fair shot at life and a good home, then I would just, make sure the dog knows, hey, lie down there and whatever. Now, since the dog didn't bite you and didn't go after you, like he growled at you, again, dogs will growl unknowingly to kind of assert themselves to see, and you kind of rose up. You didn't back down and go, oh, okay, you can stay on the bed, and then you went and slept on the couch. You didn't do that. So you did the right thing. But don't overthink it, right? If you love for Sibes, I'm assuming that you like Siberian Huskies. You've probably had quite a few dogs before. Go with your energy. Go with your gut instinct, right? Don't be doing something stupid.
Anna says, I have a 6-month-old Vizsla puppy. When we're walking, she sometimes forges ahead if she sees a distraction. I change directions while she runs to the end of the leash where she feels the pressure and then quickly comes to my side to continue, and I reward. There have been a couple of times when she's been absolutely crazy despite there not being any distractions. In these cases, should I correct her more harshly? Should I give her a pop on the leash once she reaches the end of the leash?
Well, you always want to keep the dog with you, right? You always want that dog kind of, and you don't have to have the dog in a focused heel with you, but the dog has to stay. My rule is one body length in front or one body length behind. If you get the dog in that position, not a big deal. Now, if the dog is lunging ahead, there's always a correction for that, right? Because the dog should not be pulling on a tight leash. The correction is always before the dog gets to the end of the leash, it's a pop, and then that's it. Now, be careful, again, like I've said it in a couple of things here, the more you correct and reward and correct and reward and correct and reward, you're teaching your dog to need a correction to get a reward. In other words, sometimes if the dog is just walking in a nice place, just, that's a good boy, good girl. That's it, right? 6-month-old puppy, you know, I'm not really big on all those corrections. I mean, moving, keeping the dog in some kind of a vicinity. You might do some luring with the dog, you know, have a little cheese or something with you and lure the dog into that position in an exercise and then take it away. But this whole back and forth thing, I think with if you're going to do competition with the dog, don't do focus healing or serious healing on a walk, because you're going to destroy your dog. Then a walk just becomes a walk. Like all my dogs are horrible on a leash. They're in front of me, they're behind me, they're this or that. They don't care. But if I say foos, they're going to go into a heel command. Now I can't do foos on a street and continue it, so it's not fair. And if I start to wear it out, then I'm going to lose it if I ever want to do a demo or a trial. So you got to make this decision. I would consider, you know, for me, loose leash walking is let's go. For Janet, let's go as part of heel. So you got to determine your words and your things. So if you're going to do formal obedience, teach the dog a good focused heel, foos command, heel, whatever your word is going to be. And that means the dog is directly next to you. The dog's shoulders are at your thighs, at your hip, and you're moving, and the dog is looking at you and stays in that position. And then a walk is just a loose leash walk. And if you're not going to do focus obedience, and you can just say heel, and the dog has to just be around you. But yeah, just go easy. It's a 6-month-old puppy, and Vizsla has a very high drive. But that being said, I would correct without too many rewards, right? I would just make it uncomfortable to do the wrong thing without it being a positive and a negative. It would just be a discomfort and a normal. Like normal life should be rewarded, and it is, right? A walk is a really nice thing for the dog.
Like a 6-month-old, was it 6 month, 5 month? 6-month-old puppy. How much would you let that puppy sniff without any corrections?
You know, I mean, I'm different on that. I don't like dogs sniffing too much, right? I think it starts to get, especially with a higher drive dog, it starts to become obsessive, and then the dog sniffs everywhere, sniffs and pees and sniffs and pees and sniffs and pees, especially a male. I take the dog out, I immediately go to an area and I let them potty. Like we go here, I go across the street, I say, go potty, and they potty, right? Then I walk determinedly to the next area where we're going to potty, and then we potty. And that really sets in the dog's mind, like, okay, I got to go out, I got to potty, and then we're going to walk. I don't believe in the P-mail thing. I know a lot of people do. I know you like it too. But I think that dogs, especially hard, like Jimmy, it doesn't matter, right? Or Bosman, it doesn't matter. But a super high drive dog, they're going to be sniffing, and then they're going to run over here and sniff over here, and then just run over here and sniff over there. And their nose and their instincts are going to make them the enemy of a balanced, happy, friendly dog walk.
Okay, William. I'm having a serious problem with my new shelter dog, Cindy.
Oh, boy.
The big problem happens when something scares her while we're outside. Then there's nothing I can do to get her settled down. I can get her to sit, but as soon as I take a step, she lunges forward and is pulling as hard as possible, trying to get back to the house. Once recently, it was really loud fireworks, oh, God, in the middle of the day. Another time it was a neighbor lowering their garage door. Any help would be much appreciated.
So the only thing I can take, first of all, you got the dog you got, right? So dogs that have, this is a genetic thing, right? More than likely it's a dog that's just genetically sharp dog, right? It just is super, super sharp to sounds or stuff like that. So, and if she got it from a shelter, she might have had this experience with somebody else. One thing I think that I kind of really jump at where you said you tried to get her to sit, right? So what you're doing is remember, every creature relieves stress through movement. So asking a dog that's in an excited state to sit, you're trying to cap that drive. It's too early on to cap the drive. You need to dissipate the drive. So you need to take that nervous energy, let's call it, forget about the word drive, this nervous energy, and you need to move it. So you need to get her moving and moving and moving, and that will dissipate it. So if she's boom, and it's like, she's freaked out, and you say, good girl, and you pace back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that will dissipate that nervous energy much, much better. If she doesn't like being out of the house, then what you should do, hey, Jimmy, Good boy. Then what you should do is feed her out of the house. Have positive experience happening outside of the house. Bring a brush, pet her, engage with her, take her, walk her, like, if you have a little field or something or a little open grassy area down the street, and play with her there. Make being outside something positive, but always keep her on a line so that if she spooks and she runs and she's a shelter dog, she doesn't yet know where to go, you might lose her. So the number one thing, the first knee-jerk place I would go to on this is do not under any conditions try to cap her drives yet. She's way too early for that. Her nerves aren't prepared for that. Movement. And then you'll see when she settles, and have her sit for a second, say, good girl, good, pet her, real calm petting, and then let's go. But keep your energy constant. Like if she gets nervous, don't you go, it's okay, don't get nervous. Just kind of go through it. Like, let her just chill. She'll get through it. She's got a home. She's got a great home now.
Colin says, hi, Robert. Hendricks. He named his dog Hendricks.
Cute. Does he know Colin is named after Colin, our friend Colin Hay?
I wonder, but I like
Colin.
the name Hendricks.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's like
There's
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy is Jimmy Hendricks. Okay, hi, Robert. Hendricks, my Kelpie Mal Cross, 3 years old, has had hip replacement surgery. Now when he goes to the vet, he's very suspicious, especially when they want to test his back legs, and needs to be muzzled and restrained so they can check him. Me being there doesn't calm him down, and I wonder if it's decreasing his trust in me, given that I'm just standing there letting them do it to him. Is it better if I leave the room?
Yes. Right. A lot of times with my dogs, I'll be in the room like one of my friends is a vet, and I've been there for surgeries. I've been there for procedures and X-rays and stuff like that. I wear the things, and I'm in the back. I don't play into the energy. Like I've seen my dog be operated on, and I totally understand. I'm not personal with it. For you and for most people, I would hand the dog off and I'd walk away, because it's just easier for the dog to see, one, you're trusting enough to let me go with this person, and whatever's happening there, they can do it. And your energy being there and looking, and him looking at you, it's definitely, 100%, 100%.
Michelle says, a few times throughout the day, our 10-year-old Golden Retriever mix and 4.5-month-old German Shepherd dog play in the backyard for short bits of time. However, they tend to get rough, and it's also been hard to recall or get them to stop, even the older dog whose recall is generally pretty good. I usually end up needing to physically remove one of them, usually the puppy, and put them back in his pen to relax, since he's usually the one to instigate. Any suggestions on how to get them both to quit when told?
You have to keep doing what you're doing. But what I would do is I would be in closer proximity to the dogs. I would let them get to a certain level of play. What's happening here is the dogs are getting overexcited. And in that overexcitement, the drives are kicking in, and the defensive drives and the prey drives are kicking in. And the dogs are just in this mode, and you are not exhibiting enough authority over them. They think like, oh, okay, she doesn't really mean it, right? And that's not untypical for any owner, man or woman, whatever. If you're not a professional handler or trainer, the dog kind of knows. Like if I tell Goofy or Maya plots, they know something. They know that I'm able to make them plots, right? And that's deep rooted in their brains, and that's through years of training, of getting this. Until the dog knows that, he's not going to listen to you. He's not going to just go, oh, okay, you said down or you said come. Ain't going to happen, right? So you've got to get these dogs in a smaller place environment and watch them. When the drives come, just start to come up. When you start seeing that play drive come in, boom, obedience for the older dog. And when the older dog listens, grab the younger dog and go, hey, down or whatever. Because if the older dog goes down and the younger dog keeps jumping at him, it's unfair for the older dog. Now with Goofy, we've seen that I can tell him to plots and Dwayne can jump over him. But it's through years and years and years of very focused and solid training with him. You can't expect this from your dog. You have a Golden Retriever, more than likely it's a pet, right? You're here trying to make the life better for them. My suggestion to you is, one, work solid obedience with your 4.5-month-old. Get that dog solid. Use all the training videos that are here to really, really get in touch with what this dog, the possibilities of this German Shepherd are, because they're endless. Then the play sessions for them is super short, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. That's it. Not even. Maybe sometimes it's like 3 minutes. Watch them. When they start to get excited, hey, down. And when they go down, go, good, 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 good. And then let them play again. Let them see that you can stop that at any minute. And when they don't, grab them by the scruff of the neck and go, hey, I said down, or I said come, or whatever it is. But letting them be out in the backyard, that far away from you, and letting them get to that level of play drive, it's too much for the dog.
Michael says, Bronte has become repulsed by her grass dog run where she needs to pee. Woodlice pest problem has been resolved, and could it be the bugs? The old smell of bug spray.
I don't understand the question.
I know I had to read it a few times
Okay.
too.
Are you making
It
sense?
sounds like Bronte is repulsed by the grass dog run, and he's saying the pest problem has been resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the smell of old bug spray that's bothering the dog.
So the dog doesn't like that area, maybe.
Apparently.
I mean, more than likely the dog doesn't like the area because it had lice in it or whatever it had in it, and maybe it got on the dog. Maybe that makes more sense. There's nothing you can do. I mean, if you have grass there, I'd probably consider putting something else down, putting some gravel down. Some gravel or fake grass or something so that you're not going to get an infestation of bugs. There's some other stuff. There's this, what's it called? What's that stuff called they used to have?
The kennel cleaner spray.
Yeah, the kennel cleaner spray. I forget the name of it. There's a really good one
the
I had.
The cinnamon one? Or
No, this was one I had. A Wizzy Wash. Wizzy Wash was really good, but you can't use it on grass. I think it's usually if you have a smaller dog run, I don't think it should be grass. I think it should be fake grass. I think it should be gravel or something like that, as long as your dog doesn't eat the pea gravel or something like that. But yeah, you're gonna have to get the smell out of there, and maybe take your dog for walks for a while, or maybe move it to another side of the house. But that's it. You got to be fair to the dog.
Christy and Zeke. Somehow I've trained my 2-year-old healer to run too close to me. I take him on several runs a week. He runs at my side or slightly ahead of me on a loose leash. He often runs too close to me. I've tripped and fallen over him too many times to count. I've tried a heel stick, but he presses it into it to be closer to me. How do I train him to pay attention to me and his position relative to me so that I don't keep tripping over him?
So I'm wondering if you maybe taught this dog a focused heel and the dog is going into that position thinking that's what you want. I don't know, because you said you've trained your 2-year-old healer to run close to you. So you kind of conditioned him to be close. And in that training, you probably did things that if he was away from you, he got corrected back to you. One thing that I've seen people do for dogs that are coming in too hard is they'll use one of those brushes, like a wire brush, a hairbrush, and they'll strap it around their thighs. And so when the dog bumps into them, it feels it. It's not the end of the world. I would teach this dog. I would do left turns around the dog, left turns, left turns, and it would teach the dog to kind of stay a little bit more behind you and a little bit more back. Put a prong collar on the dog, and the other thing people do too is they'll put a prong collar backwards on their leg. So if the dog bumps into them, it'll push them away from there. You got to be kind of creative with this one. I certainly wouldn't run the dog and break my wrist, or my hip or whatever. That would be really a bad idea.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Break your elbow.
Could. I would do an exercise. Watch my leash walking exercise. You'll see that anytime a dog is too far behind me, I make right turns, right? Concentric right turns. And then if the dog is too closing in on me, too far in front of me, whatever, then I make left turns. And it just teaches the dog naturally. Like I'll come across either with my hand, I'll tap him on the snout, or my right knee or my left knee, and I'll tap him in the jaw and teach him to go back further. The dog you have to get that taught to the dog before you go out for your next run. It's just you're going to be typing with one finger. So yeah, you can do that. You can try the prong collar backwards around your thigh, and then if he bumps into it, you just don't want to make it aversive for the dog to be close to you. That's really, really, really important, because what happens is you train all this work to get the dog close and tight and good focus and all this stuff, and now the dog is so tight. Then Goofy does it. Like Goofy, you've seen Goofy on a heel. Like I'm running, he's right there.
Right.
I need to keep my movement forward, because what happens is sometimes when you're running or walking, you'll kind of slow down. You'll start to do this gradual thing to the side to avoid the dog following into you. But You just got to keep your path. In other words, walk on a straight line. And when that dog is with you, you're going to keep going on a straight line. And don't let the dog see that you start to move to the side, because once he starts seeing that he's crowding you and you're giving into that crowding, you're going to be, way over to the right after that. And flip side of it, try and put him on the other side.
I just love the idea that they're running together and
tripping each other.
Maybe the healer's kind of hurting her a little bit.
Could be, yeah. But again, you got to break it. But
yeah.
I like the idea they're healing. I don't like the idea that they're falling.
No, I don't either.
All right, guys, that is a long one. That's 39 minutes and 59 seconds of Janet reading questions to me and me answering to you. So thank you, Janet, for trying this. I hope you guys liked it. I'm afraid you guys are going to like it too much, and you're going to go, that's the only way we want the questions from now on, is with Janet's voice reading them. So if you do, I might only be able to do it once or twice a month. I'm just kidding. But let's see. All right, guys, enjoy it. Sorry I wasn't here Friday. Been busy. Great lessons coming up. Great podcast coming up. Got a good podcast coming up this week. And I know you love the Vadim podcast, and there's some more really, really spectacular podcasts coming up. Stay tuned. And thanks for being here, guys. Love you guys, and God bless you. See you.